Alright, I have another video. I will show the build really quick, so that way people who want to leave can leave after seeing it. It's a stat stick. And as always with my builds, they're not necessarily meant to be the tankiest, the fastest, or the highest damage, but rather something that I think will do well for a variety of people in a variety of content, while feeling generally just comfortable to play. And if there's something that's going to dramatically increase speed, damage, or tankiness, I'll try to address it. Alright, that is the build. If you've never played Valby before, pretty much all you need to do is you jump on a surfboard with her third ability, and then you throw water at people with her first ability, and then if you need to CC or suck stuff in, use her second, and her fourth is just really good damage, particularly for a single target, but it can be a bit dangerous to get off. But if you have the opportunity, it's pretty good. And so it looks something like this. 3 to get on the surfboard, 1 to throw some water blobs at things. Maybe you want to tow everything in, and then this. Right. So that's what it looks like. Okay. So, if you saw that and you said, I want to play this, then feel free to stick around for the descriptions on how I've decided to build it. How I've decided to build it. The first thing that everybody's going to care about is the Ancestor mod. We're using Spiral Tidal Wave here. So this is going to increase our critical hit rate and critical hit damage while we're on water. While you're on your surfboard, you are considered to be on water, so you don't have to worry about positioning. And then this will give us some skill duration and some critical hit rate increase. I believe it says critical hit damage, but I guess they forgot that one. So kind of actually interesting, but sure. Anyways, so for this, since it's a crit build, you're going to be going with crit hit rate. I believe you want about 250%-ish to reach the crit cap for her. I'm right below it, so it should be about 250-ish%. You got to be, excuse me. There you go, 93. I could give you the exact number, but it's probably like 250, 255, something like that. I can calculate it maybe after this, and I'll put it in the description, but it should be right around there. If you don't have one with high crit, you'll probably want to take off something like either the... I've got a pretty bad HP mod on this, so possibly take off this HP mod and put on crit rate with skill insight, or maybe take off skill extension and use skill insight. For any character with duration, skill extension can be pretty good. I actually think in group gameplay, you probably want to run Dangerous Ambush instead of Extension, because things will not be sitting in your puddles as much. So I would recommend swapping this out with this, but there is a reason that I have this on, and that is because the OS4 gameplay that I'm going to link, I did solo to collect the gameplay footage. And yes, I did solo it with a non-gun build Valby, and it was probably one of the easiest Onslaught 4 solos I've done. It was very easy. So primarily on this thing, you're going to be looking for fusion boost ratio, fusion modifier, critical hit damage, and critical hit rate. Those are going to be the 4 things that are the best for you to get. And then non-attribute boost ratio is also fine, but it's not as good. But it's still good. So if you have it, don't throw it out. The reason that we are looking for those, the crit rate and the crit damage are pretty obvious. It's a crit build, so those are going to be one of the easiest ways to scale your damage. But modifier, fusion modifier, we're running fusion here, and her modifier values are very low. You'll notice that we're only at 200%, so getting additional modifier on that would be good. So your Ancestor mod had plus 100% modifier, well, that would give us a 50% damage increase. If you're unsure of how you scale damage in TFD, there's 2 components. There's the skill power, which is what's affected by things like base boost ratio that you see here, and there's modifier, which is the other thing there. And if you were to get 100 modifier, that 204.6 that you see under the puddle would go to 304.6. So traditionally, things with low modifiers, like 200% or below, scale very well with modifier increases, and things that have high modifier values do not scale well with increases to modifier. So because hers is low, it's okay to have that. Otherwise, normally you're just going for things that list the base boost ratio, like this and like this. That is one of the reasons that we have this on. You don't see this too much today because most characters have such high modifier values that most of them don't scale well with modifiers, but Valby does, so we are using that. And then because I have so much non-attribute increase, I'm using power increase. If you do not have non-attribute increase on your ancestor mod, you can feel free to run non-attribute specialist. So you could either run this, or because this we already have the cooldown from here, you can run wherever it is, this one, non-attribute specialist. This will be about 4% higher. Yes, that is correct. Sorry, I was checking to see if I had cooldown on there because it changes things with cooldown. We get enough cooldown to reach the cooldown cap from this, so you don't have to have cooldown on this one. So you could also just opt to take, I think there's a higher modifier that you can run for this one, so it doesn't matter which one you do. That'd be up to you. Then obviously you just want your area, your cooldown stuff, and then crit damage. We are running non-attribute integration because it's just better than the other strike mod, which I think is like frontlines or something. And then because I have enough crit rate, I don't think that I'm running emergency measures. So, which is fine. We can do that. I addressed skill extension versus dangerous ambush. That's fine. The crit rate values on these are going to determine what you're running. So, like I said, if you need more crit rate, work skill insight in here. This is probably going to be where you want to do it. That should cover the ancestor mod and what you're looking for. Because there's so many different ways to scale her damage on this, I'm not really going to recommend alternatives if you have like HP and cooldown and a bunch of other stuff, or range, things like that. If you've got them, obviously you can adjust your build as necessary. Like you could take out skill expansion if you have range, you could take out HP if you have HP, but you should be able to find something good given there's about 5 different attributes here that you could go with, being non-attribute, boost power, fusion boost modifier, fusion boost ratio, skill crit, and skill crit hit damage. So those are going to be what you're looking for. There's no alternative trigger mods for this one. You could potentially run Power Beyond if you want, but the let me just bring it up here. This is going to be some damage. Not sure how close it is, but Infiltration Mechanism is the thing that really does the bulk of our damage. To proc this, all you have to do is be in a status conversion type ability. That's her third, so just make sure you're always on your surfboard. There's almost no downside to ever being on the surfboard. It reduces your incoming damage, increases how fast you go, gives you great mobility. It says it increases your skill power. It does not actually increase your skill power. That is a lie. I have submitted the bug to Nexon. It probably won't ever be fixed, but that's probably part of the reason that her gun build, it does so much damage comparatively to everything else, is it doesn't have that, and it's tuned around not having it. And conveniently, her other builds don't have it either, because, I don't know, man. Let's see here. So, covered all that. Yet again, if you don't have the non-attribute ratio here, then you might want to run non-attribute specialist or non-attribute focus over here for this one instead. Then we've got the weapon. So this is just a stat stick. As I said, whenever you use a fusion ability, it just buffs your non-attribute, so make sure you're using it. You'll go up to 5 stacks. The stuff that we have on it, the only thing that really matters here is basically there is, let me say, a few things that you do want for this. You want Defense Master, and you want Fire Rate, and you want both of these things here. So on my other build, I didn't really go into this. If you watched the Tactical Nuke video recently, it's not as important because there's only like one point in time where you ever press her 4th skill on that, but you do press it for this one. So if you look at this really fast, I have 28 rounds, sorry, 40 rounds. I have 40 rounds and they all fired very quickly, right? So let me show you what happens if you don't have those 3 things. Instead of 40, we are now at 27. And look how much slower we attack. So that is why you do need those on it. You do not need the weapon fully built. You just need to be able to fit in those things. And the things that matter the most are magazine size and fire rate. So this one is on compulsive, but I believe we actually... I'll probably check it after this. I think this one actually gives you more rounds, and I just have forgotten to do that. I think it gives you just like 1 or 2 extra, which matters. So may as well build that one instead. But yeah, you just need these. And then this one is just good for general tankiness. When you defeat an enemy, you get stuff. You get the defense. I don't think this has access to brisk walk, so we can't do that. And then tactical change. I think when you swap off of your to your like 4th skill, I do believe it procs it. So there you go. You can see that little thing over there on the left, the shield. That is giving us increased defense from swapping off of our weapon. And it increases our swap speed, so we have better weapon weight, and we have tactical weapon change here. This is stuff that normally you don't have to cover, but because you don't obviously need it for the gun build, and then you don't need it for tactical nuke build, but it is important for regular Valby, and it's possible that people have forgotten about it. So this I just need to level up. The recoil just helps with firing the 4th. Like all this stuff affects your weapon, but it doesn't affect the damage, except for the fact that you get increased rounds and fire rate, right? So the weapon cores on here do not matter at all. Weapon cores do not affect your 4th ability in any way. Any of the unique weapon effects beyond whatever is stated on the tooltip, which as you can see here is modifier, fire rate, effect range, rounds per magazine, and fire rate again. So you do want the weapon core unlocked and cores in there, but it does not matter what the cores are. I've gone for grappling hook and sprint speed. Your movement speed is fixed. That's not the button I wanted to hit. Your movement speed is fixed on this thing. So being able to sprint faster doesn't matter, but I believe grappling hook cooldown charge time caps at I think 50%, so I just have 2 of those. But you can grappling hook on this, so you may as well just take both of those. So that's why I have that built that way. So it does matter for once to actually go into this and pretend this is maxed out. But you don't really need the weapon fully built, like I said. Like you could take off these recoil mods, for instance, if you didn't want to fully build the weapon. And you could take off better weapon weight if you didn't want to have that. But I do feel like these are pretty good, and then these 3 are essential. So it's really just these 5 here that you absolutely have to have. Well, these 2 you don't have to have. They're not giving you damage, but they increase your tankiness quite substantially, which you'll notice that we don't have a ton of HP here, but part of that is because my mod kills me. Somehow every Valby mod I have is good, but also kills me when I equip it. Okay, so alternative external components, there's not any. This is your best build. Make sure you're getting the same options as this. These are going to help you the most, particularly the stuff related to mana. And then for this one, it doesn't matter what you take. I have shields and toxin. I would probably recommend toxin resistance. You never know when you're going to get hit by something that's toxic, like those YouTube comments. Sorry, that's a joke. And then for the reactor, you technically, I believe crit damage is actually slightly higher. It's just I have this one maxed out. It's 5 stars. I do have the other one with crit damage, but you know, I'm not made of money here, so there it is. I don't have it maxed out, and the extra 2 ranks is better than having the crit damage for me, so that's why this one has fusion, but that's the only reason. But this should do more damage, I believe, if you're into that thing. In terms of tuning, so the OS4 gameplay, I actually have this on, which is incorrect. For solo, if you wanted to solo OS4, which she can, she's obviously very strong. Defense neutralization is going to be a little bit better because you're guaranteed to get the first hit. You can run this as well if you'd like to in group gameplay because you have very high first hit potential with your ability to just blanket the entire map in puddles. So if you want to do that, you can. But sometimes you're just in a group with, like, I don't know, like a bunny or a Blair or something, and they just go ahead and like tag everything without killing it, which doesn't make any sense. So for us, there is a reason you would tag stuff. That is because you're duration based and because you shred resistances. So her laundry, if you don't know, anything that gets hit by it, boy, that sounds weird, gets slowed and has reduced electrical and non-attribute resistance. And then if you're running defense neutralization, you would be shredding it as well. So if you got that first hit, I mean, that's the reason that you would be wanting to do that. Other people not running defense neutralization and just running ahead and just slapping everything once without killing it are just trolling effectively. So, but you can run either one you want. I think Arcade Chain Catalyst is fine, but so is defense neutralization. What else do we have here? Inversion control. We do need 1 mana at the very least. I opted for this, but you could also just do the HP one and then run the mana dog. I did this one because I believe it's a little bit more mana than the mana dog. So, and then I have reduced incoming damage modifier and just a little bit of extra range. Our range cap for this build is 150% if I recall. So you can see where it says max expandable range, 250%. Everybody starts off at 100%, and then your stat screen will show you the rest of it. So you can see I'm missing about 26% here. So I go up to about 135% with this inversion reinforcement. Ideally, I'd like to have a little bit more, but you know, it is what it is. We've got pretty much everything that we can get here. You'll notice I do have, so there is, you have about 5 extra points that you can run with, which is this, and this. So potentially what actually does probably just a little bit more damage for my build would be this. This. But like, let's say you didn't have the HP, you could take the HP out and do this. So this is going to be your highest possible damage. The reason I'm not running that, and you may even do less damage with that. Sorry, excuse me, I'm like hiccuping. And the reason that I have these spec'd is because she can have some mana issues. So I've taken the extra mana here as opposed to going through here, just because you get a little bit more mana and some duration going this way. And I prefer that over this. So this only gives you, whatever that is, 3.1% skill cost reduction. But this gives you 5.7% maximum mana. This Transcendent module removes her mana scaling. You'll notice that none of these scale with mana anymore, like her base kit does. But I still took it just for the extra mana, because if you are all of the mana restores in the game are based off of your maximum mana that you have. So if you're just increasing your maximum mana by 6% effectively, that's going to do better than reducing your costs by 3%. So, because you're basically going to be restoring 6% more mana, and then I just have the mana recovery modifier increase here yet again to just help with that. She does passively recover a percentage of her mana every second, so I think it's 1% per second. So the more mana that you have, the more that you will be recovering as well. So that's why I've gone with those. But technically, this, and then all these are anything that you could do. You could try running it without these and see what it feels like. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But you do have about 7 points of wiggle room there to work with. You could even take Colossus damage maybe if you want to. Or you could go up into like cooldown, would also be fine. If you didn't want to do that, you could take the cooldown node, and that would cap your cooldown even if you for some reason weren't running this. But if you like wanted to go with the higher modifier, I'm kind of yapping at this point. I want to think that I've covered just about everything that I could cover on how to build the character, the math, and the stuff that goes into it, and the decision making. For Dangerous Ambush, like I said, you could do this. This is probably going to be better in actual group content. I'm being a goober. Hold on. Yep, I am being a goober. There we go. She does have a way to proc this, so that would be one of the reasons that you could use it, and that's via this. That's going to knock down everything, so you'll get the increase for that. And just because other people will be attacking things, this will probably yield more damage than duration. But if you're running solo, the duration is obviously going to do substantially more damage, because scaling duration is just an additional modifier effectively. This is going to be diminished with your other base skill power boost ratio increases like this one. So you're not actually getting 25% more damage or 50% more damage with that. You're getting whatever that maths out to be, maybe like 10 or 15% extra damage, something like that. It's a diminishing return because you already have some of it. So if you already had 50% base skill power boost ratio, to double or to increase your damage by a further 50%, you would need like 75% more of it. So something along those lines. So it's not just enough to get like 50% more. Every time you get more of something, it becomes less effective. So that would be why duration is also good in here. is just we haven't scaled duration yet, so it's just an additional modifier that hasn't been diminished. And it does take your skills up to, I believe, like just over 11 seconds, so you get about 3 more ticks off of them, because they tick every second, so. But those are your options. This will probably do better, like I said, in group play, though, just because you may not get the full duration out of your puddles anyway in group content, because people will also be attacking things. So, I believe that's everything. If I forgot anything or I realized I did something wrong, I will try to pin something in the comments. Otherwise, enjoy the Onslaught gameplay. Like I said, it surprised me with how strong it was. Your group damage, like if you do OS4 in groups, it's probably going to be somewhere in like the 70 billion range, which is pretty good. Obviously, her ability to shred electric resistance and the current electric meta with Bunny and Inez and sometimes even Sharon, you're going to be boosting their damage by quite a bit, and they're going to really enjoy that. Also, you have one of the stronger shreds via defense neutralization or this, just because you have high base non-attribute skill power boost ratio from all this stuff, and potentially your mod or this thing, so you'll potentially get up to like 20% more shred that you could shred. Actually, does this one do, I can't remember, is this just non-attribute? Oh, okay, never mind, you're just reducing non-attribute here, so. Yeah, I mean, if you're running defense neutralization, you're going to be, like, giga buffing your teammates' damage if you want to do that. So that's up to you. Like I said, she does have pretty good first hit potential just because your dots are going to be everywhere. You're very likely to get the first hit and proc dangerous ambush. Or, sorry, defense neutralization. But it is going to make you look worse on the meters, but that's just so your teammates can do, like, 50% more damage. And I can say that in the times that I've run that, so if you run, like, if you want to be, like, support while also doing damage, I've had like so many OS4 runs recently with like this setup while I've been testing these different layouts that have been like 8 minutes, 9 minutes. It's definitely just, you buff your teammates' damage so much with this build. So that's up to you if you want to do that. It's just an alternative, but usually it's I do around like 70-ish billion, sometimes a little over 100 billion. With a setup that looks something like this, so it's still really good damage, despite the fact that you're also like massively increasing your allies' damage. But just know that so you're not going to look quite as good on the meters. If you want to go purely for meters, it's definitely dangerous ambush and arcade chain catalyst. So that's up to you, though. I'm saying meters, but really we just have a score screen. Sorry, I'm just too used to MMORPGs that have like meters. All right, I've yapped enough. I'm sorry for that. Hopefully that explained everything, and hopefully people enjoy it. Just classic Valby, I'm going to call this for now, just because it's probably her most viable build that plays how she used to play. Water play just doesn't do quite the damage that it needs to be doing, so I'm not running that currently. This does about double the damage of water play. So, but this is probably as close as you can get to like classic Valby, and it still performs really well. So when you're not buffing everybody else's damage to eclipse yours, I think the OS4 solo gameplay will show that it's very capable and very strong still. It's probably better than her gunning build if you're running solo, just because you can hit the entire map. And remember, guys, it's only a problem if you're hitting the entire map if you're in Nez. It's okay when Valby does it. So anyways, enjoy the video, and have a wonderful day, everybody.
Initiating energy concentration point stabilization operation. Prevent enemy infiltration at all costs. Descendant, you need to interact with the target device. Approach and engage with it within the time limit. target located. Neutralize it within the time limit quietly to avoid alerting the enemy. Zone stabilization confirmed. Descendant! Unstable energy source detected. Transmitting target coordinates to your receive. Descendant, the enemy offensive is weakening. Time to utilize your tactical options. Enemy reinforcements detected, Descendant. Hold the line. Destruction target confirmed ahead. Descendant, destroy the structure completely within the time limit. Enemy reinforcements detected, Descendant. Hold the line. Key target located. Neutralize it within the time limit quietly to avoid alerting the enemy. Zone stabilization confirmed. Descendant! Unstable energy source detected. Transmitting target coordinates to your AC. Descendant, the enemy offensive is weakening. Time to utilize your tactical options. Enemy reinforcements detected, Descendant. Hold the line. Key target located. Neutralize it within the time limit quietly to avoid alerting the enemy. Descendant, Command has deployed an emergency suppression device. You can use it in combat. Descendant, you need to interact with the target device. Approach and engage with it within the time limit.